all, and thank you for joining us for the webinar on the imperative of going mobile with recruitment, a talent-driven approach to campus hiring and beyond. This is in partnership with Pearson TalentLens, and I am Shweta from People Matters. And before speaking about today's agenda, let me give you a brief about today's topic. A recent global survey shows 74% of high potential talent uses mobile in their job searches, and about 69% has a higher opinion of organizations that use mobile recruitment. With fierce competition among organizations to be the most sought after employer brand for qualified talent in the vast talent pool, the Indian recruitment landscape is in transition from being recruiter driven to being talent driven. Recruiters are now looking at ways to generate a superior hiring experience for today's talent and in ways the tech-savvy Gen Y and Millennial talent pool expects. What has once been the domain of bothersome ROI, logistical hassles, long turnaround times is now set to evolve to a more robust approach to attracting and engaging talent during the recruitment process. The webinar will focus on the Indian recruitment landscape, what Gen Y expects versus what organizations offer today, fortifying current recruitment practices with mobile, the benefits, checklist for building a foolproof recruitment strategy, that is, overcoming challenges to going mobile, integrating mobile in your current recruitment practices, campus and volume hiring, and finally, why embrace mobile recruitment now? Pearson TalentLens India Pilot Study Results. It is time to introduce to you all the speakers for this webinar, and I am much delighted to welcome Mark DeRugeriis, Chief Operating and Financial Officer, Assessment Innovation Inc., U.S.A. Mark DeRugeriis is Chief Operating and Financial Officer of Assessment Innovation Inc., a USA-based mobile assessment and talent management organization. In his current role, Mark oversees the company's new product initiative and strategic partner relationship and was instrumental in developing HireMe, a mobile recruitment solution in collaboration with Pearson TalentLens. Mark is passionate about helping organizations refine their talent recruitment practices to become more efficient and cost-effective by leveraging mobile technology. We also have with us Shashir Shetty, National Head, Pearson TalentLens India. Shashir's area of passion and interest has been the use of assessments in profiling and identifying talent. He has worked in various capacities of business development and consulting in Pearson TalentLens and other talent management organizations. The experience of working extensively in the assessment and talent management space has seen him work with more than 100+ organizations across industries in designing and developing effective and innovative assessment-related strategies for recruitment and talent management. Our partner for today's webinar is Pearson TalentLens. Backed by 9 decades of science, Pearson TalentLens offers leading assessment and learning solutions to help organizations identify and develop talent and build a 21st century workforce. With Pearson TalentLens solutions, organizations create a culture that fosters critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity in the workforce. Pearson TalentLens is a pioneer in mobile recruitment and the owner of India's most widely used and fully automated test for assessing English communication skills, Versant. Its clients include over half of Fortune 500 organizations. We have saved time for you to ask questions at the end of the webinar. For those attending the live webinar, can submit their questions anytime during the presentation through the Q&A section. We will try to respond to as many questions as time allows. So, we have a very exciting agenda for today's webinar. So, without any further delay, I am going to hand over the webinar microphone to Mark and Shashir. Over to you.
Hi, this is Shashir here. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of this webinar. Very quickly, before we start, let me take you through the agenda. So what we're going to cover in the next 30 to 40 minutes is predominantly a snapshot on how mobile has impacted our lives, the impact of mobile on the recruitment landscape, the recruitment challenges at the entry level, and how does mobile help strengthen some of these current recruitment practices to overcome these challenges. And we also ran a very interesting survey a couple of months back on mobile recruitment. We'd be happy to share insights from some of these studies. So without wasting much time, let me just move on to the first section of the presentation, which is on how mobile has actually impacted our lives. I think this is a very interesting infographic that is presented, and this shows the percentage of time that we spend on mobile phones. And I think one of the most interesting statistics that you see is on the left side. That is, college students in India use their mobile phone for up to 8 hours daily. And 46% of that is typically spent on me time, which is, I was having a very interesting discussion with Mark yesterday, and Mark was talking about something called as the first screen. What is the first screen that you see as when you grow as kids, For us, for a lot of us in this generation, the first screen that we saw was probably a TV. And our me time typically probably still is about going back to TV, I guess. But if you look at this generation, I think when you talk about me time, the first screen that they have been exposed to is the mobile. And their me time is predominantly on the mobile as well. So I think the most important question to ask there is, how do you kind of ensure that you get a mind share of this me time, and how do you position your company as a brand of choice, as a recruiter of choice, within the time that these individuals spend on mobiles? And I think the second and the most important statistic, and I think I found the statistic very, very relevant when I was doing my research, is that for 2/3 of India's population, smartphone today is the only computing device. A lot of us do not have personal laptops anymore. We actually only have work laptops. And this is important, and as we go through the presentation, we'll realize why this is very important. But it's important to know that 2/3 of India's population does not have a laptop. They only have mobiles. And the key difference is applying for a job or looking out for jobs is not considered to be a professional, it is, for a lot of people, it is a personal experience. And I think this is the most critical statistic that we need to focus on. Moving to the next slide. If we were to look at our lives 6 years, 7 years back, I don't think a lot of the industries that have gone mobile today, we would have even imagined a lot of industries that have gone mobile today would have gone in that space, especially retail. 75% of Flipkart's total traffic today is coming on the mobile app. The travel app industry in India is expected to be about $7 billion and is growing at a CAGR of 25%. The food ordering apps like Swiggy and Foodpanda, the instances of food ordering have gone up by 8 times. And I think the most significant part is healthcare has gone mobile. I think as a community, Indians were not a community that trusted doctors easily. But today, Facto gets about 4 million searches a month on mobile and about 1.5 million users, and they're actually reaching out to doctors on mobiles. And this is going at 30% every quarter. And the second most important statistic is, I think for Indians, money is also extremely sacred. And mobile payments is estimated to grow from $86 million in 2011 to $1.15 billion in 2016, which means healthcare and banking, which is probably the most sacred of all the things that we do in our personal life, have gone mobile. It is only a matter of time that recruitment has to go mobile. And if you've not started thinking about the mobile recruitment strategies, I think you need to start it now, because otherwise you'll be left playing catch up. Let's see how mobile has now impacted recruitment trends across the world. So today, about 62% of the talent across the world visit company career pages on their phone. 36% research opportunities on phone while commuting. 51% research opportunities during coffee breaks on their phone. And 80% research opportunities on mobile devices at home after work. And so I think the key point here is, the 3 questions to ask from a recruitment standpoint is, how do you reach out to these millennials or tech-savvy candidates who are actively looking out for opportunities from their mobile? And what needs to be done to ensure that you when they're looking out for jobs, your company career page is optimized in a way that it reaches out to them as well, so you're not missing out on these candidates that are actively looking for jobs. Let's look at how mobile has actually impacted the Indian recruitment landscape as well. So India probably is the fastest growing smartphone market in the world currently. We have 200 million mobile internet users, and about it's a 200% growth in 4G devices year over year. Now, from a recruitment standpoint, 41% of all job-related searches in India come from mobile phones, and 90%. And there's a 90% increase in job searches over the mobile phone year over year. I think this is an extremely interesting trend. And how does the demographics support it? 70% of India's population is less than 35 years, and this is also the demographic that probably has the smartest incidence or the highest incidence of smartphones. And if you link it back to the data point that college students use up to 8 hours, spend up to 8 hours on mobile phones or on their smartphones, I think it is but imperative to ensure that you have a mobile recruitment strategy. And I think if you look at the bar graph at the bottom of the slide, you look at when do people apply for jobs. They don't apply for jobs during work hours. There might be a psychological reason for that. People might be guilty applying to jobs during work hours. So obviously they're not using their office computers or laptops for applying to jobs. The predominant time period in which they're applying to jobs is evening after work and during the weekends, which is their personal space. So basically, applying for jobs is an extremely personal experience. And mobile today or smartphone today is the only computing device that people have. 2/3 of India's population has. So if you want to make recruitment an extremely personal experience and you want to cash in on this trend, then it's important that your entire recruitment strategy is mobile optimized. I think the key takeaways, so before anybody looks at if the talent acquisition community needs to present it to the business, what are the 3 most compelling reasons why you need to move to mobile? I think there are 3 or 4 reasons. One, the target audience is moving mobile. Second, you kind of look at what business challenges does mobile help you solve, the current recruitment challenges. And third, is the infrastructure ready to take your recruitment strategy as mobile? Now, of the 3, I personally feel that the fact that your entire talent is moving mobile and volume hiring and entry-level hiring is probably the most significant part of hiring in most organizations. And the fact that this community is on mobile is the most compelling reason why a company should invest in the mobile recruitment strategy and should do it right away. So, on this note, I would like to hand over the stage to Mark. Mark, in his current role, actually has worked with the companies across the world in helping them design and develop their mobile recruitment strategies and optimize optimize technology to serve mobile recruitment needs in local geographies. And I think with this experience, he's going to address the second part of the key decision points on going mobile. That is, what are the business challenges? It's fine that the candidates are going mobile, but what are the key business challenges, the key recruitment challenges that mobile is going to solve? And Mark will help you address that. So Mark, over to you.
That's great, Shashir. Thank you for the introduction. I'm just going to take the presenter role. Let's see. Can you pass it to me, Shashir? Great. Thank you very much. So really, when we look at the recruitment challenges in the mobile environment, the first thing is to really look at what the trends are. As a technology, especially mobile, it really continues to evolve as we have this better technology now today than we had, say, 4 or 5 years ago, and it's playing a more increasingly important role in the way that in the way the companies really approach candidates and recruit and hire, right? And it's really important to understand what these trends are and what we're seeing in the marketplace. And really what the common theme here is that it all mostly revolves around mobile. And really, based on our research, we can understand and know a few things about the behavior of these mobile users. For example, a majority of these job searches are done on mobile, as we know. Mobile users usually reject a career site that's really not optimized for mobile. If they have to go through a very tedious sort of application process, they'll shy away from that. and also that if you make the application process very easy and you kind of streamline that process, you're able to see more users really apply for those jobs. And really, in short, the really challenges here is really not to turn off these mobile users, because they're really looking at your product in the marketplace as an extension of your brand, your company, how you're positioned in the marketplace. So it's really, really important to understand that and how you're perceived in the market by these millennials. And really, when we look at the trends, there's really 5 main areas: social media, technology, data analytics, assessments, and obviously mobile. I'll just quickly make a comment on each area because I think it's important in understanding how these 5 areas really converge into a mobile recruiting environment that's so important to branding, to promoting your company, to really engaging and attracting great candidates. The first one is social media. As you know, most social media users really interact with their mobile device a lot. Within social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, what have you, most users interact with social media vis-a-vis their mobile device. And it's important to understand this because this is a great opportunity for a hiring company to really promote their brand to a much larger audience and really leverage the benefits of social media. As you know, if you post something or you have a blog, you can really promote your brand and really get information out to the marketplace much easier, and you can really leverage these social media networks to really promote your brand. Technology, we've been talking about mobile connection, technology. This is a key theme here because it's really important that you're able to really develop new and really more efficient ways to kind of reach and engage candidates. The mobile device has been around for over a decade now, and really this explosion of the smartphones, as Shashir mentioned, that 2/3 of the Indian population has mobile devices and not laptops. That will tell you that you really have to start to look at leveraging not only technology but mobile technology. And this is also equally important when we look at data analytics. A lot of companies really don't use data to make decisions. And really that's important to do in this time because the mobile device allows you to collect this data in ways that you never could before. Because you can reach folks remotely, you can then collect certain data on that individual and collect data to really make these decisions of potentially what candidates to go after, what your profile, the optimal candidate is, what certain markets you want to address, what sort of cities or universities. There's a lot of areas that you could identify that you may want to pursue, provided that you have the data analytics to back up that decision. Skill assessment, super important, and Pearson obviously is a market leader in this, but it's really important because it's really the most efficient way to screen your candidate because most candidates are going to mislead their experience or their job position on their resume or CV, and this is a way to sort of authenticate if they have the basic skills for the job very easily remotely. And again, also important, it's an automated process where there's no human interaction, where you can do this remotely, and it's an automated sort of screening, leveraging assessments. And the last is really, obviously, mobile. That's what we're talking about, and really how companies leverage mobile to really approach and recruit candidates is really important. And it's really, as you'll learn from this webinar, that it's paramount to have a mobile recruitment strategy now, considering that over 90% of the candidates are searching for jobs vis-a-vis their mobile device. With new mobile technologies and this millennial population, there's challenges. And really, I can look at these challenges, especially how it relates to recruiting for entry-level positions within the millennial population. And now that the companies that have a mobile solution or a strategy, they have to really address these challenges. And really, when I look at these challenges to this millennial population, I look at it and I kind of put it in three main areas or buckets. One is the candidate experience. And what I mean here is basically you want to optimize that candidate experience that engages the candidate and provides the most appropriate and easiest workflow that they enjoy using, where these millennials, they really want to be sort of wowed and they want to be engaged, and they want things easy, right? They want an easy process to follow, and if you can present your company in the best light and being sort of technology savvy, that's the way it helps sort of branding and really present your company in such a way where you are cool or you're innovative, and really that will help in sort of attracting the top candidates. The second area is really the challenges on what system do you use and what parts go through that system, right? And one that not only leverages technology, but also you have to leverage the other parts, whether it's a mobile job application, whether it's an assessment, these other parts, a video interview that can be done on a mobile. You want to also leverage these other parts that are technology related, but they're also different, where they have a different reason to use them and an effect on the workflow. And then by that way, you can really hone and develop a system that really can not only engage the millennials, but actually present a very compelling user experience. And the third area is something that interests, I know, a lot of talent management professionals, and that's really around security, or what I describe as sort of authenticating the candidate and making sure that the candidate is not being impersonated by a friend or a parent or something. And these things we know goes on, but related to security, because the mobile device is so robust and what you can do on that mobile device, you can leverage certain features that can help limit any sort of impersonation of the candidate by, and we'll talk about this later in the presentation, but basically you can leverage certain features of a mobile app to protect and sort of ensure that that user is who he or she says he is, and that they are the actual one taking the assessment, and they're not trying to circumvent any sort of process that you put in place. But again, we'll discuss that later in the webinar. But that's also a key challenge when you do anything remotely with the user that's not in front of you. And really, we're coming back to this millennial population because this is the population that's going to make up a majority of the workforce. These are the college grads. We know that in India there's roughly 20+ million college grads a year. Half go overseas or to other regions and half stay. So you have a significant amount of new candidates in the workforce every year. And these millennials kind of march to their own tunes, per se, where you have to look at how that you're going to be engaging them and really promoting your brand so you can attract the top candidates within this population. And that's easier said than done, and it's really about what is the strategy that you deploy, understanding what are the traits and expectations of the millennial population is within your recruiting strategy. And really it's about, these millennials, they most appreciate a company or a hiring organization that kind of values their time, that invests in promoting their brand and their reputation in the marketplace as being cool or innovative, and also providing opportunities that can be flexible to their needs, right? The personal needs, they put those first, where you want to position your opportunities and promote your company culture as one that is flexible, allows for some flex time or some scheduling flexibility when you're talking about working at that respective company. now I just want to move to what sort of best practices that you should be looking at to kind of fortify your recruitment strategy as you look to interject and sort of make that a sort of a creative recruiting practice with mobile, right? Where you add value leveraging the mobile. And really it comes down to, I like to look at three main sort of metrics, which is really cost to hire, time to hire, and time to offer. When you're looking at finding recruiting market, these are really the three most important metrics that really can determine if you're being efficient in recruiting and that you are hiring the best talent. And it's really important that, depending on your recruitment process, that you do a better job in this than your competitors, because then you'll be able to hire the best talent and before your competitor does. And really, it's really about a process that's very simple, right? The candidates, you reach out to candidates, you have them apply, you screen out the sort of the unqualified, you bring that down to a short list to interview, and then you make an offer and you make a hiring decision to hire that candidate. So that's really the process now. And we look at what the benefits of using mobile. The top three layers of this, the attracting candidates, the application, and the SIFT here, the screen, you can do that before you even appear onto the campus for recruiting. You can push out, you can get a list of applicants from the user, from the recruiter, of candidates. You can invite them via email or text or direct them to a job board. You can have them, once you've engaged them, you can have them apply for the position, give you certain data on their education, some other data points that are important for that position, and then have them take a short 10 to 15-minute assessment on their skills as a way to kind of understand at a very high level what are the basic skills they have, and you're really authenticating the profile of that user, which will allow you then, in this case, if you compare this process to the process that you're doing now, where you're going onto campus, you're promoting your company, and having candidates fill out applications there, assessing them, and then, contrarily, you could then you could just show up on campus after they have remotely applied for a job and taken assessments with a short list, and you can go to the recruiter and say, I want to speak to these 10 people, interview those 10 people, and then make a hiring selection from those 10, and really shortening the resources that you're expending, time and money, because usually now, if you only have to just go there and interview folks and then make a hiring decision, you can probably send less representatives from your company, and you'll obviously spend less time on the university going through this interview, this recruiting process. So really, there's a significant advantage to utilizing mobile in your recruitment strategy, because it allows you to kind of cut that in half, right? You're doing the first half of the engaging, applying, and the screening remotely before you even show up on campus, and then after you show up on campus, now you can then interview your short list of candidates that you pre-selected before you got there, and then make a hiring decision. So there's a really value prop in utilizing mobile in your recruitment system. When we look at other sort of benefits to utilizing a mobile solution in your recruiting, one that's pretty important and really there's significant value here and could give you a competitive advantage is that because you have a mobile solution where you can pre-assess or you can assess candidates in other areas outside of the metropolitan areas, potentially areas or cities or universities that you've never visited, you can now remotely deploy a pre-hire assessment to collect data on that candidate pool within that city or within that university remotely without going there, number one. And number two is then after you review the data, you can then make a determination and say, wow, okay, these candidates from this city or these candidates from this university scored considerably higher than the other cities. It would be worthwhile for us to visit with that university or within that city, the universities within that city, to say, yes, this is worthwhile for us to spend some resources to go on campus and try to recruit candidates from these areas because you sort of pre-qualified candidates from that university or city. So it really gives you a competitive advantage and able for you to sort of do market research remotely, very efficiently, very quickly, which you can use as a competitive advantage when you make a determination of which cities that you want to address next after you sort of mine the candidates in the metropolitan areas. Another benefit from utilizing mobile is really the passive candidate. We talk a lot about passive candidates because passive candidates are candidates that are most qualified, right? Because they're working, they're not actively looking, and you have a data point on if that person can do the job because he or she is working in that job that you're recruiting for. So really passive candidates is really a higher quality candidate than an active one because he or she is working, and you can have some more data points to kind of authenticate the skills and the profile of that passive candidate that's working. And having a mobile solution, really, the research has shown that passive candidates are more likely to apply if you can leverage mobile where you're promoting your company or you make it easy for a passive candidate to learn more about your company through a mobile device, and that could be simply as having your career site mobile optimized. And then the other thing that we've seen by almost a factor of 6, that passive candidates are more likely to apply if the solution is easy and it's on mobile, as opposed to if it was on the web. So again, another benefit for going mobile. This next slide, we're talking about branding, and this is becoming more and more important as these millennial population they have much more options to who to work for and what positions, and how you sort of brand and promote your company is so important in the recruiting because you want to engage and attract the most qualified talent. And the mobile, having a mobile strategy and solution really allows you to leverage this mobile environment, whether it's through social media, as I discussed, through sending text to individuals, or just engaging them and really promoting your brand as one that's innovative, cool, and that's super important now when there's so many candidates and they have so many options, and you really want to attract the best and the most qualified. And really, a lot of this recruiting is heavily weighted on the marketing, because if you're not able to engage and attract a top candidate, then your ultimate hire is going to be not as good as it could be if you were attracting the top candidates. Moving ahead to really another benefit related to mobile is providing an opportunity to engage candidates much more robustly than you otherwise would prior to smartphones, and that allows you to do it because the mobile device is always on. It's always on you. You look at the screen many times during the day, and you're able to send push notifications and things like that. But also, you're able to really communicate information about your company, whether it's culture, what opportunities are there for learning and growth, really to kind of frame your company's profile and how you want to position yourself in the market. And you can also do things where you can give them some sort of guidance on the career by pushing something to them, really differentiating you as a company or as a brand against your competitors that are not doing this. And the other thing, if you have with a mobile solution, you can also, if say you're recruiting at a university, you can sort of have the alumni of that school that currently work for you sort of get engaged in the process as well, further to sort of promoting your brand and your relationship with alumni from the university. And lastly, I'll talk about really the analytics. And this is a very key piece to any recruiting strategy, because what we see in the market more times than not, companies are not leveraging data to make decisions as well as they should be, right? Because this is new, it's a new device, and really most companies are sort of unfamiliar with what data they could collect and really how to leverage that data and analyze it to make these decisions. For example, you could use data on past opportunities and look at where more of the candidates came from, and say that you've noticed that 90% of the candidates that you ended up hiring came from one university. You could then sort of modify your recruitment strategy related to those types of positions and say, you know what, I'm only going to go out to those 3 universities. I don't have to go to these 10 universities now because I got 90% from these universities. Now I can go out and selectively just go out to these 3, thereby saving a lot of time and money in your recruitment of these candidates. So really just, the mobile allows you to collect information remotely that you were never able to do. And then, if your solution has robust reporting where you can then look at the data from the positions you're recruiting for and sort of then start to hone your strategy going forward, that will give you a competitive advantage with other companies in the marketplace. With that, I'm going to pass it back to Shashir, and he'll take you through some research that Pearson conducted on mobile recruiting and what we learned with certain behaviors and other nuggets of data. Shashir?
Yep. Thank you, Mark. So I think before Pearson decided to launch its mobile assessments in India, I think we decided to do a survey to understand the pulse of the market, so understand where the candidates are as far as their acceptance of technology is concerned, and where the talent acquisition professionals are as far as the strategy is concerned. So I think one of the clear insights that came out of this survey was that while majority of the candidates did prefer mobile recruitment options, only 16% of the talent acquisition professionals said that they were actively pursuing a mobile recruitment strategy. And so I think the gap between the talent acquisition community in general and the audience that you're trying to hire is quite stark. So the interesting part is when we asked the talent acquisition professionals, what challenges do you think mobile recruitment will solve for you? They were of the opinion that it increases turnaround time, it gives convenience to the candidate, making the experience richer, it gives you access to a wider talent pool, it gives you access to a tech-savvy talent, and it helps you build a better recruitment brand. So while the talent acquisition community in general tend to acknowledge the fact that mobile recruitment could solve some of their business challenges and could only benefit the recruitment process, only 16% responded saying that they actually have a talent recruitment strategy in place. So we kind of tried to do a little more research on why do you think this gap exists. And I think so the next question that we asked is, what is your barrier? What is stopping you from going mobile? And what's stopping? And I think the biggest and the largest roadblock that the recruiters had was that how does it stop candidate impersonation? Authentication issues continue to be the number one problem plaguing mobile recruitment. So, and these are some of the things that from a mobile assessment perspective, I would like Mark to explain. In terms of technology itself allows you to do a lot of innovation. So there are three things that can be used to manage impersonation. The first thing is what are the reactive measures that you have? So what are the audits and checks and balances that you have? So mobile allows you to actually store data for reactive measures. The second is what kind of deterrents can you use? So deterrents are things that prevent the candidate from actually cheating. So one of the things that we built into our system is randomized image capturing if you're a front-facing camera, and also a video resume. So the fact that your image is being captured at randomized testing intervals, and you probably have to upload a video resume, which means the candidate knows that your image and your video is being captured during the test process, deters them from actually cheating. So these are deterrents. Now, what are the preemptive measures that we can use? I think one of the technology today allows us to use some preemptive measures. In fact, fingerprinting and voice biometrics is Mark, would you be able to add some insights on how voice and finger biometrics could add value to, or how could it address the impersonation issues?
Yes, Shashir. I think, when we look at sort of this issue in particular, we look at it as a holistic approach to addressing it. There's no really magic bullet, right? Instead of having someone that is sitting there and proctoring the exam with you, absent of that, there's really no magic sort of silver bullet, as we say. And really, we take a collective approach. And as Shashir mentioned, we built in certain these features within the app, leveraging technology that allows us to do things that we weren't able to do, especially on the web-based product, which is basically taking into screenshots of the user over different intervals, and then as these devices start to get sort of updated, that we can then leverage fingerprinting, which is there now, and if anyone has an updated sort of recent iPhone or a Droid device, they have the fingerprinting there, so that's already sort of involved. And the other thing that we do is we look at utilizing our assessments to also do that, because a lot of our assessments that we use are timed, where there's no really an opportunity to kind of pass the phone to someone else, because you could be, the phone could be taking a screen, a photograph of you at that time. So it's very tricky. So collectively, utilizing these security features really provides a solution to this one of these challenges for mobile recruiting. And we think we've done it pretty well. And again, it's only going to get better. And now with when we start to include biometrics, then we think that this challenge will be totally solved from the security point of view. Shashir?
Sure. Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
So that addresses the candidate impersonation issues. The second biggest challenge that the recruitment community highlighted was the technology adoption barriers among job seekers. And I think during the presentation, we clearly indicated that the candidates actually prefer applying to jobs on mobiles. And in fact, if you look at some of the surveys from the survey results from IBM study, it says not only do candidates look for jobs on mobile, a very high percentage of the high potentials or the top performing candidates are actually looking for jobs on mobiles. These are not your actively job seeking candidates, these are your passive candidates, and these are the high performers. And majority of them actually search or look for jobs on the mobile. So the assumption or the fear that the technology adoption on the candidate side is a challenge is actually a myth, because I think the candidate base is more than ready to kind of look for jobs and apply for jobs on mobile itself. I think, and Mark spoke about this as well in terms of the difference in how companies approach. In fact, in August 22nd, 2015, Google actually changed its search algorithm as well. So the Google search changed its search algorithm in such a way that if a candidate is searching for jobs on mobile, and if the company's career page is mobile optimized, the ranking for visibility actually increases. So the chances of your the company page or your career page being visible to the candidate increases significantly based on Google's mobile search algorithm right now. And I think the ecosystem has changed. I think the ecosystem has provided the infrastructure and the technology. The smartphones have become are making it easier for candidates to apply on jobs. It's just that on the other side, we've not done enough to enable a mobile recruitment process. This is a very valid challenge. So the poor internet connectivity and inadequate mobile penetration. So now this is a challenge that we did come across when we did the mobile assessment pilot. We realized that people do have smartphones. A lot of them did not actively have use data services connections, and they were dependent on Wi-Fi. And the college infrastructure did not. Most of the colleges did not have a good enough Wi-Fi infrastructure. So one of our feedback to Mark and the technology team was, you need to make this work. Because infrastructure will continue to be a challenge in India. The Wi-Fi availability, public Wi-Fi availability will continue to be a challenge in colleges and outside. So we need to optimize it. So Mark can share his thoughts on how technology allowed them to kind of make the app so light that it even runs on 2G today. So Mark, could you share some light on that, please?
Sure. When we actually, launched the pilot within the marketplace, we ran into some challenges. Obviously, some were market driven, some were technology driven, and really the technology issue was really about bandwidth. And being able to or allow a user to efficiently and quickly download the app from the Play Store, so one, that they're not using tons of bandwidth, number one, and number two, to make that process quick and easy. So really what we found is that we had to optimize it for the 2G. Roughly right now there's about 60% of the areas are 2G, with about 35 to 40% moving to 3G. And again, that's improving every day. But how we kind of met that challenge is we shrunk the app, and really we used certain images and certain components of the app, and we shrunk it down almost to 1/20th of the size of a normal app, and that allowed us to kind of allow the users to be able to download it very quickly with a very low bandwidth, such as 2G. So that's how we sort of addressed that challenge. And now, because we've done that, now it's much positioned to it's better positioned now as the technology and bandwidth increases. Now the performance of the app is that much better because we did optimize it for not only for 2G but also for a lower operating systems and earlier devices. Shashir?
Sure. Thank you, Mark. I think the final apprehension that the recruitment community had was around poor user experience. So these are some of the survey results. So when we ran the mobile assessments across India, 93.5% of the respondents felt the app was very easy. If you look at it, most of the percentages are in the positive, and they acknowledge the fact that the user experience is good. So this is another myth that the community has, that the candidate experience might get compromised by moving it mobile. In fact, the candidate experience has only gone up. The candidates actually like the fact that you're making the attempt to come closer to them and build your recruitment strategy on a platform that they are more comfortable with. So the poor user experience is actually not a concern. The candidate database actually enjoyed taking assessments on mobile. One challenge we did come across when we were running these assessments, and it's good to know for the rest of you as you design your market strategy, is India has a huge range of smartphones available, and especially Android. So I think when you're designing your market strategy for mobile, it's very important to understand that you design a minimum viable product that can run across multiple smartphone devices. This is one of the challenges that we did face in the market, and it took us a while to kind of address that. So as we were doing the survey and as we were getting people to take the assessment, we started collecting information on the type of mobile phone that they use, which gave us enough insights to kind of optimize our app to ensure it works on a range of mobile phones across the country. So having said this, I think we come to the end of the webinar. I think to just summarize, why should recruitment go mobile? One, the most compelling reason, the target audience is going mobile, so it is very, very imperative. There is no way going mobile is the only strategy or the only option we have. Otherwise, we'll be playing catch up. Second, mobile does solve recruitment challenges. Technology has evolved to a point where mobile does ensure logistics challenges around recruitment is resolved significantly. And third, the ecosystem and the infrastructure is available to go mobile. So all the three things are in place. It is just a mindset shift from a talent acquisition point of view that we need to make, and we need to take our whole recruitment strategy mobile. And with that, we come to the end of the webinar. We have another 10 minutes to take questions, so we'd be more than happy to take questions here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Mark and Shashir, for that wonderful presentation. And yes, it's time to move ahead with question and answer. So I will start with the first question that is coming from Yash. Yash wants to know, he says, my company already has an ATS or HRMS system in place. What are the factors that I need to keep in mind before implementing a mobile recruitment strategy? And how do we integrate mobile recruitment strategy with sourcing strategy?
So, Mark, would you like to address that question?
Sure. Yes, thank you. I think when you look at your current ATS or recruiting hiring system that you're currently using, you have to look at a few things. Is that right now is how are you engaging or how you are reaching out to that candidate and bringing them through the process? What is your current process? Because we've done a lot of A/B testing where we've provided the same process on the web and the identical process on the mobile, and we found that over 90% prefer the experience on the mobile than the web because it's just a better user experience. So you first have to understand what your process is and how you can sort of make that more efficient. And then once you understand where you can lead with the mobile solution and when you have this handoff to your ATS, then you can look at how best to integrate it. The software that really allows for you to sort of push the candidates that have gone through the process and been screened in. You can push those right into an ATS very seamlessly. So that can be that type of integration. It just really depends on how some companies have a very robust ATS that does multiple things, and there's some ATSs that are very light and only do a few things. And really about how you integrate a mobile solution really depends on your system, and it depends on what point you want to make that handoff from the mobile, the candidate. You want to hand that candidate off to your ATS.
I think just to add to that, Yash, I think one of the things that a mobile strategy allows you to, today if you look at mobile solutions available, there are mobile solutions available for sourcing, there are mobile solutions available for assessments, and there are mobile solutions available for interview. I think what you need to figure out is what parts of your recruitment process do you need to first optimize mobile? It, of course, starts with your career page. So one of the easiest things to do is kind of, most of these mobile app comes with soft APIs, right? These can be used as plug-and-play models. So one of the smarter things to do would be to integrate the mobile app into your career site. So when a candidate is applying on your career site, the information that flows to your ATS also flows to your to the mobile app as well. So that way there is a seamless flow of information. Or you could have the mobile app integrated with your ATS itself if you do not want to change the current system, where a candidate can apply to the ATS, but that information then seamlessly flows to your mobile app, which then begins the process of engagement, assessment, and interview if required. So you have a plug-and-play option with all the soft APIs, or you can look at the entire ecosystem where everything goes mobile as well.
Well, thank you, Shashir and Mark, for taking that for us. Yes, and let's move on to the next one, which is coming from Bacha Bhattacharya. So he wants to know, what are the types of pre-engagement functions that can be used in a mobile platform? And do we need to approach inclusion of mobile in recruitment in any particular sequence?
Right. I think let me address that first before Mark takes over. I think engagement, if you ask me what is the advantage to a recruitment process that a mobile app brings, I think engagement is the biggest differentiator. If you can get a candidate to download the mobile app on their phones, there are two things that happen from there. One, we Indians love downloading free apps, and we give it is unbelievable the amount of information we share to download a free app because it's either linked to our Facebook profile or to our Google Play profile. So there is a lot of candidate information that comes to you, which can then make the entire communication to the candidate more personalized based on the information that is available, personal information that's available. I think that's one. Second, if you've got a candidate or a potential job seeker to download the app, it allows you to send a lot of push notifications. So if you have a Flipkart or a Myntra or a Amazon app today, you'll see that from time to time you keep getting this information on discounts or new offers. The technology allows you to send some push notifications as well. In this case, from a recruitment standpoint, the push notifications could be around, redirecting them to their career page, redirecting them to a video, or sharing information about the organization, or creating the whole experience where they relate to the brand better. So one, you can use the personal information and customize the message that you're sending to the potential job seeker, and that's how the engagement with the organization, even before he or she joins, becomes very strong. And I think that is engagement is the key differentiator that a mobile app can bring to your whole recruitment strategy.
Yeah, so the only thing I would add to Shashir's comments is that when we look at deploying a mobile solution, we look at the talent life cycle from job boards to recruiting to applying for a job and then after post-hire. And really a mobile solution allows you to kind of shrink that period between with recruiting and hiring, because it allows you to do multiple things very quickly on a mobile device and really avoid where you can have them fill out an application, you can assess them, you can do a video interview, you can do a lot of steps in one shot, which allows you to avoid or not do certain parts of your process. So it really makes that process that much more efficient by saving you lots of time and money. So really, when we look at mobile, it's really about leveraging mobile to kind of shrink that process and make it much more efficient than it otherwise would be if you have to candidate go to the web or in-person interviews and things like that.
Great. Thank you, Mark and Shashir, for taking that. Now we just have space for one last question, and we are receiving a lot of questions with respect to the reach of the app. So I'm going to take this one, which is coming from Varun. He says, we have operations mostly in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Will the app work in these locations? Also, how do we make people download your app? And what are the kind of costs involved in mobile recruitment?
Yeah.
Yes, Shashir, you want me to take part of that? Sure. I think when it comes to reach, because it's mobile, if they have they have a data plan or they're related to, if they're near a Wi-Fi or just have minimum 2G bandwidth, they can download the app. It's very simple to go to the App Store to download it. How you would know about it, you can promote the app in various avenues, whether it's social media, through a Facebook page, LinkedIn, career sites. You can share, you can send it by text and email. So you actually get a link to to find the app. That's very easy to sort of deploy, and it will work in any region around the world. And it is localized. So if there's certain things that are localized for the Indian market, then that app will be in such a way that it will be localized. And the other thing, too, is that once they download the app, as Shashir mentioned, you have already engaged them, then you can start to collect data on that individual and kind of pre-qualify them. So having a mobile, you can basically reach anyone, anywhere, anytime. Shashir?
Right. I think the critical aspect is that you need to reach out from a tier 2, tier 3 city perspective. How do you kind of optimize the bandwidth? And today most of the apps are optimized to work on a 2G network on minimum bandwidth. The second thing is that how do you reach out to this database? You see, I'm saying a mobile app today will not drastically change your sourcing process. The first step is there are certain steps in evolution as far as technology is concerned. The first step is that you have a social media recruitment strategy. The second step is that you do have a mobile recruitment strategy. And third is you use analytics to reach out to these potential candidates. Now, these three things need to happen in a sequence. Now, if you're talking about how do you reach out to a large number of candidates just by having a mobile strategy, it won't help you. It is a function of your technology coming together with your social media, coming together with your analytics, and all of this coming together with the social media, with your sourcing strategy. So the steps involved in going mobile first is you need to get your career page optimized to mobile. Second, ensure that the next steps of recruitment, which include registration, sifting of the resumes, or making that process easier, then getting the assessments done remotely so that they don't have to come to their office. And then the only reason they need to come to your office or interact with your folks is to have an interview. And then integrate that with the social media strategy and ensure that the data that is coming in terms of the personal information that you have should help you reach out to a larger set of candidates. There are companies like that. There are companies in the market that are already doing that. If you've heard of there's a company called Belong, which typically uses social information, the web footprint of the individual to help reach out to those passive candidates that are available in the market, but that have not reached out to you. But I think it's an evolution. So you need to get your sourcing strategy on mobile. You need to get your assessment strategy on mobile. You need to integrate your social media technology and sourcing, and then use analytics to ensure that you reach out to this passive database. You cannot skip one step just to ensure you reach out to this passive database. It has to happen in a sequence.
Shashir, you want to just mention the cost of this mobile recruitment strategy?
Sure. I think there are a couple of cost elements associated. In our opinion, in whatever research we've done and my past experience of working in the India market, typically, if you look at the cost to hire, 33% of our cost today is logistics and logistics and infrastructure cost. That is either going to the campuses, sending your interview team to the campuses, or getting people to deliver these assessments for you, hiring the web center or hiring an interview center across geographies to run these assessments. So this typically constitutes about 33% to 40% of recruitment cost today. And mobile allows you to bypass the need for logistics. It takes the assessment and the registration process to the candidate, then getting the candidate to come to a location. So straight away, your recruitment cost will go down by about 33 to 40% just by using mobile. Assuming that your assessment cost and your interview costs don't go down, by the fact that you're reaching out to the candidates at their time and at their convenience, you're bringing down the complete logistics cost.
Correct, and it's also, I'll just add that it's an automated process where you can automate that process where now that the logistics of steps, say, 1 to 3, about engaging, applying, and assessing, that can all be done remotely and really can kind of shrink your time to hire substantially, where you can save a significant amount of time and money.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Mark and Shashir, for taking that last one for us. Of course, we have a lot of questions with us, but then the time does not allow, so I would request both of you to take them offline later. And with this question and answer session, we are going to wrap up today's webinar. Once again, we thank today's webinar partner, Pearson TalentLens. And of course, a very, very special thanks to both of our speakers, Mark and Shashir, for this webinar and the amazing information they have shared with us today. I would like to thank everyone in the webinar audience for participating in today's presentation. Like always, and we will come back to you with many more. This concludes today's webcast. Thank you all and have a great day ahead.
Thank you.